Inside the world's floating cities. What could be more ideal than a city that literally floats? Likely, it's nothing at all. We live in a technologically advanced society where we are constantly being showered with cutting-edge innovations such as the Floating City project. Saudi Arabia has taken a significant stride in actualizing the concept with their £6.8 billion floating turtle city after unveiling the first prototype last year. Who is working on this, and what does it seem to entail, exactly? To find out, let's watch this video. Also, be sure to subscribe and be updated. The Floating Turtle City. Construction of the turtle-shaped mega-yacht Pang-EOS has been proposed for Saudi Arabia. If the concept were implemented, it would create the largest marine vessel ever constructed, which is essentially a vast floating city. The ancient supercontinent Pangaea, from which we get the name Pang-EOS, existed some 200 million years ago. The idea was developed and released by the Lazzarini Design Studio. The Rome-based company employs 3D modeling and rendering to present ideas and plans. The scale of Pang-EOS is ambitious. If this ship were constructed, it would easily set the record for largest structure ever made. Sumitomo Heavy Industries of Japan constructed the Seawise Giant, the world's largest ship. Its length was 458.45 meters. Azam, a yacht built in Germany, is the longest in the world at 180.61 meters. The Pang-EOS would make both of these giants look tiny. It is expected to be 610 meters in width and 550 meters in length. The massive vessel will function as a mobile metropolis, complete with public parks, shopping centers, and lodging facilities. Lazzarini claims that 60,000 people, plus an unspecified number of crew and personnel, can fit on Pang-EOS. On each side of Pang-EOS, there would be space for 69 flats and 19 villas. In total, there will be 72 rooftop terraces available on the exterior shell. Some will look out over the ship's main port, while others will face the ocean. The Pang-EOS would be the highlight of the trip instead of a normal yacht or cruise liner. With its 916,800 horsepower HTS engines, the Pang-EOS will reach a top speed of just 5 knots, 5.7 miles per hour / 9.2 kilometers per hour. The ship moves at a slow and steady rate, which is appropriate given its massive size. From the Pang-EOS, travelers can take any number of ships or planes to reach their destinations. A port for other ships will be constructed on board, and a hatch in the top shell region will let in flying items. The bows begin at the port's central square and wind their way through a vast terraced villa and on to other houses, buildings, and roof decks. The design team's underground lair features 30,000 cells or cluster compartments and provides a floating solution that is designed to be unsinkable and made primarily of steel. The Pang-EOS is a Saudi Arabian-designed ship that, thanks to its nearly infinite supply of renewable energy, is meant to sail the world without stopping. Building a massive city on the water will, unsurprisingly, be quite expensive. Lazzarini estimates that $8 billion will be needed to fully realize the potential of Pang-EOS. Funds are being sought via an NFT crowdfunding initiative. Investors can use cryptocurrency to buy real estate on Pang-EOS, a virtual planet in the metaverse. The project would take 8 years to build, according to Lazzarini. It's challenging enough to locate a site with sufficient space for such a major construction undertaking. Depending on whether or not the Saudi Arabian government gives the project the green light, the Mega Designers projects have already selected a site close to King Abdullah Port. Approximately 1 square kilometer of the seabed would need to be dredged before building could begin. A circular dam would be used to control the water level at the construction site. Pang-EOS is currently only an idea being tossed around in people's heads. Saudi Arabia, however, will be the country where work on the futuristic floating city finally gets underway. Oceanix Busan. Visions of Oceanix Busan, the world's first prototype floating metropolis, have been created. The plan is to construct a city off the coast of South Korea that can adapt to rising sea levels. Rose Dykins from UN Habitat reports that the city of Busan, Republic of Korea, and the blue tech design firm Oceanix have shown fresh renderings of a sustainable future floating city. Additionally, work will begin early next year, making it a reality in short order. So, why are we doing this? Given the impending climate catastrophe and the severe shortage of land in coastal cities, Oceanix Busan proposes an innovative solution. Half of the world's population resides within 100 kilometers of a coastline, and 90% of megacities are at risk from sea level rise, which could cause billions of dollars in flood damage to infrastructure and force millions of climate refugees to relocate. Rapid population increase in areas with little room for development forces locals to relocate toward the coast, driving up housing costs to unaffordable levels and forcing out the lowest income residents. Cities built on water could help us adjust to our new environment. Oceanix CEO Philip Hoffman remarked, "Today represents a crucial milestone for all coastal towns and island nations on the front lines of climate change." On schedule, Oceanix Busan will show how coastal towns may develop sustainably into the ocean, despite rising sea levels, by using floating infrastructure. The floodproof prototype was developed by a global team of elite architects, engineers, and sustainability experts led by New York-based firm Oceanix. Oceanix Busan was announced during the second United Nations Roundtable on Sustainable Floating Cities, with Big Jark Ingalls Group and Samu as its primary designers, owned by Samsung. During the first roundtable in 2019, an agreement to build the prototype with a host city was reached, and it was decided that Busan would be that city in 2021. Busan, located on the southeast coast of South Korea, has a maritime culture and a well-established marine engineering sector, making it an ideal location for the deployment of the floating city prototype. Park Rong-jun, the mayor of Busan, has big goals, including turning Busan into a smart and environmentally friendly city and bidding to host the World Expo in 2030. He said, "We joined forces with UN Habitat and Oceanix to be the first to prototype and scale this audacious proposal in response to the devastating consequences of sea level rise on coastal towns. We cannot manage today's difficulties with yesterday's instruments," UN Habitat Executive Director Maimuna Mohammed Sharif said at the occasion. "To solve the world's issues, we need to think outside the box. But let us be fair and open in our pursuit of innovation, making sure that no one or place is left out." Oceanix Busan is the world's first prototype sustainable floating city, and it consists of 15.5 acres of interconnected platforms that can accommodate 12,000 people. Each community, ranging in size from around 30,000 square meters to about 40,000 square meters, is designed to serve a specific purpose, and the platforms on which they are built are mixed use. The Blue Lagoon of floating performance, art, and leisure venues is framed by the link-span bridges that connect the floating platforms to the land. The low-rise buildings are connected to Oceanix Busan's network of lively public places, and they have rounded edges and terraces for indoor and outdoor life. The plan is for Oceanix Busan to evolve over time to meet the needs of the city of Busan. Currently accommodating 12,000 locals and visitors, it can expand to accommodate 100,000 people. 6 components, including closed-loop water and food systems, net-zero energy systems, innovative transportation, and coastal habitat regeneration, are essential to the prototype floating city's successful operation. Together, the photovoltaic panels on every roof and in every body of water in the city will supply all of the power the city needs. Outposts and greenhouses will be located on the floating platforms, and each community will have its own system of creative urban agriculture, water treatment and replenishment, resource conservation, and recycling. Oceanix's modular marine city, according to Big Jark Ingalls Group founder and creative director Jark Ingalls, will serve as a model for resilient and sustainable communities. This new form of watery urbanism will be pioneered by Oceanix Busan, which will bring the city's specific character and culture to the waterways surrounding the city. We anticipate that Oceanix will mass-produce its floating platforms, which will serve as the backbone of future climate-resilient communities in the most at-risk coastal locations. The sustainable design of floating cities, the design's eco-friendliness, is also essential. The Oceanix Busan is equipped with 6 interconnected systems for managing energy, food, water, trash, transportation, and coastal habitat regeneration, ensuring that as much as possible is recycled and reused in the floating metropolis. Energy for the city will be generated entirely by photovoltaic panels installed on rooftops and floating structures. Each neighborhood will have its own water purification and restocking system, waste minimization and recycling programs, and urban farming for food production. Compromising the future. This idea of creating a floating megalopolis is not unique to Busan. In September of 2021, King Willem-Alexander of the Netherlands inaugurated the carbon-neutral floating office Rotterdam in the Dutch port. The Maldives floating city is also planned to begin building this year. The archipelago in the Indian Ocean is one of the most climate-vulnerable countries due to the fact that more than 80% of its land area is at or below 1 meter above sea level. Floating cities and workplaces are one solution to the impacts of climate change on coastal communities, but the ocean still has many pressing issues that need to be addressed right away. This concludes our discussion of this episode. How did you find the show you just saw? Please subscribe to our channel and give the video a thumbs up. Okay, then, catch you in the next one.